In 2005, Sony and Microsoft made the same bet, that gamers would pay anything for the most powerful console ever made. The PlayStation 2 had sold 155 million units. Xbox had proven Microsoft could compete. Both looked at their success and decided the next generation needed to be overwhelming. By 2008, both had lost over $8 billion combined. This is the story of the most expensive mistake in gaming history, and how two tech giants nearly destroyed themselves trying to destroy each other. Microsoft had one obsession: launch first. November 2005, the Xbox 360 shipped, a full year before PlayStation 3. But there was a problem. Microsoft knew about it. They shipped anyway. The red ring of death. 3 glowing red lights that meant your console was dead. The 90-nanometer chips ran too hot. The cooling system was insufficient. GPU thermal failures appeared within 3 months. The failure rate hit 23.7%, the worst in consumer electronics history. Microsoft's response? A $1.15 billion extended warranty, the largest consumer electronics recall ever. Repair centers were overwhelmed. Class action lawsuits piled up. But here's the twisted logic. It worked. Microsoft captured the market first. They lost billions on repairs, but they beat Sony to living rooms. Ship now, fix later. It was a gamble that cost more than most companies are worth. While Microsoft rushed a broken console to market, Sony was building something that shouldn't exist: the cell processor. Ken Kutaragi's vision was a supercomputer in every home. 9 cores, 234 million transistors, 3.2 gigahertz. On paper, it was a monster. 218 gigaflops of theoretical performance. In practice, developers called it a nightmare. Like programming 8 consoles at once, one developer said. Games that should have looked incredible looked worse than Xbox 360 versions. $400 million to develop. And for what? Games that ran at lower resolutions and worse frame rates than the competition. Sony built a rocket ship and gave developers a bicycle manual. The cell was so complex, it killed backward compatibility. Sony had to include an entire PS2 chip inside early models. The irony? Late in the generation, when developers finally learned to use it, the PS3 produced some of the most beautiful games ever made. But by then, the damage was done. E3 2006. Jack Tretton walks on stage to announce PlayStation 3 pricing. Then he says it, $599 US. Silence. Awkward applause. The internet explodes. Microsoft executives celebrate across the street. Why so expensive? The cell processor cost $150 to manufacture. The Blu-ray drive added another $100 to $125. The PS2 chip was $30. Total manufacturing cost, $840 per unit. Sony was losing $241 on every console sold. The market reality was brutal. Xbox 360, $399. Nintendo Wii, $249. PS3, $599. The PS2's dominance had made Sony arrogant. They believed brand loyalty was worth $600. They were wrong. Both companies shipped products that didn't work. The red ring of death became gaming's most infamous failure. 24% of early Xbox 360s died. Microsoft extended warranties to 3 years and ate $1.15 billion in losses. Gamers wrapped consoles in towels trying to fix them. Sony's problems were equally expensive. Cell processor yields started at 10 to 20%. Most chips came off the line broken. Blu-ray drives were in shortage. Sony promised 2 million PS3s at launch. They delivered 400,000. Scalpers sold them for $2,000. Both gambled everything on cutting-edge technology. Both lost. Microsoft lost billions replacing broken consoles. Sony lost billions manufacturing consoles they couldn't make enough of and sold at massive losses. The PlayStation 3 was more powerful on paper. In reality, games looked worse. Third-party developers built for Xbox 360 first because it used familiar DirectX architecture. The PS3's cell processor required complete rewrites. The results were embarrassing. Call of Duty ran at lower resolution on PS3. Grand Theft Auto 4 had worse frame rate. It took until Uncharted 2 in 2009, 3 years after launch, for Sony Studios to prove the hardware's capabilities. Meanwhile, Xbox Live destroyed PlayStation Network. Microsoft charged $60 a year. Sony offered it free. But Xbox Live worked flawlessly while PSN went down constantly. Halo 3 and Gears of War defined the generation. One developer said it best: Xbox 360 is like a sports car. PS3 is like a fighter jet. Incredibly powerful, but you need years of training to fly it. Both companies nearly died. Then both learned. Microsoft released the Jasper revision in 2008. The red ring was finally fixed. They dropped prices to $199 by 2009. Then came Kinect. $500 million in marketing, 24 million units sold. Sony's path was harder. The PS3 Slim launched in 2009 at $299, half the original price. They removed the PS2 chip and used software emulation. Better development tools made the cell usable. First-party studios finally mastered the hardware. Uncharted 2, The Last of Us, God of War 3, these games justified the cell's complexity. And Sony's Blu-ray bet paid off. HD DVD died in 2008. The format war was won. Final sales: Xbox 360 sold 84 million units. PS3 sold 87 million. Both survived. Both lost billions getting there. Microsoft's Red Ring repairs cost $1.15 billion. The Xbox division lost $3 to $4 billion between 2005 and 2008. They didn't turn a profit until 2008, 3 years in. Sony's losses were worse. Manufacturing losses cost $3 to $4 billion between 2006 and 2009. Cell development ate $400 million. Blu-ray licensing cost billions more. Sony's stock price collapsed. The gaming division nearly killed the entire company. And then there's Nintendo. The Wii launched at $249, profitable from day one. 101 million units sold. While Sony and Microsoft bled money fighting each other, Nintendo made billions selling underpowered hardware to people who'd never played games before. The irony is suffocating. Sony and Microsoft spent $8 billion combined trying to destroy each other. Nintendo spent a fraction making people smile. The seventh generation taught expensive lessons. Power doesn't equal sales. The Wii proved that. Launch timing matters more than perfect hardware. Gamers won't pay $599, no matter how good the technology. Loss leader strategies only work if losses are sustainable. Developer-friendly architecture matters more than raw specifications. These lessons changed everything. The PlayStation 4 and Xbox One used conservative, PC-based architecture. No more exotic processors. Backward compatibility became mandatory. Digital distribution reduced costs. Subscription services replaced hardware profits. The PS3 and Xbox 360 generation almost killed console gaming. Both companies' gaming divisions faced potential shutdown. They survived by fundamentally rethinking what a console should be. This was the most expensive console war in history. Over $8 billion in combined losses. Two tech giants nearly destroyed their gaming divisions, trying to out-engineer each other. The cultural impact was permanent. Online gaming became standard. HD graphics became the minimum expectation. DLC and microtransactions were born from companies desperate to recoup losses. Console gaming nearly lost to mobile, while Microsoft and Sony battled each other. But both companies survived, both learned. The PS4 and Xbox One generation was profitable from year one. The PS5 and Xbox Series X learned from every mistake. Backward compatibility, reasonable pricing, developer-friendly architecture, all lessons bought with billions in losses. The PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 war didn't kill gaming. It forced gaming to evolve or die. And in that crucible, something better emerged. Next time, how Nintendo saved the industry with underpowered hardware and motion controls everyone said would fail. The Wii story is next.